here we are. we never get it together.
No, we don't.
That's all right. We'll either edit this out or
not.
Or not. Leave it in.
It's kind of becoming our brand.
It is becoming.
We're never prepared.
Welcome to Happy Hour with Ruth and Roxy. She is
Ruth. She is
Roxy.
And we have t-shirts on.
We do have t-shirts on, and we have to show you right now because then we'll start slouching.
Yes.
And look at
and
this.
Things will get in the way. 10 provinces, 3 territories, 40 million people, but sorry, not the 51st state. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Right, and that's not to the good Americans.
Not to you guys.
You know who that's to, right?
So
might also be to Gretzky because.
Yeah, not cool, dude.
Nope.
So there is a lovely woman in Gibsons, BC, who she's an artist, and I've bought a bunch of her stuff because I think that I don't know how I found her on Facebook, probably somehow, but she does these really cute illustrations. You can't really appreciate it here, kind of. You can because they're just like kitschy and
it's like folk arty.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And she works out of her home. She used to have a storefront, but she just moved that to her house. And she makes these things, and so I got in my inbox came this, hey, I'm trying this one out. You know, you're one of my loyal clients. Do you want to try this? I'm like, boom.
Yeah,
absolutely. In my inbox, local, Canada first, all these things.
Yeah,
supporting art.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's all of it. So the other one we'll have to talk about, and I'll put this down because we're going to talk about the alternative. I'm going to forget what they're called now. National. It's the forestry people, and they're the ones that they've become the resistance, right? Internally, and I'll have to get the right name, but they're going to do t-shirts. So I was like, as soon as you have them, and they said they're not going to profit from them. They just want people to wear them so people understand how big this coalition of support is, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up while we talk about what we're drinking because I want you to, because these guys are doing something special.
They're warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we are enjoying a glass of Singletree Rosé, and Singletree is a winery that has a location in the Fraser Valley. It's Abbotsford, actually, and I believe they also have one. Actually, I think they closed it. They had one in the Okanagan, and when the fires happened, they
right.
Shut
Give me
it down.
the name. I'm just making our notes, trying to do better. Singletree.
Singletree.
Yeah. Great. No, but that's good. So it's called the Alt National Park Services, and I'll put a link to their Facebook page on there. They've been around since Trump was first in.
Okay.
Right, and they were talking about all the things because he doesn't actually care about the environment or the parks or anything like that, and so they're the ones that are rising up and telling us what's going on. But they also do really cool things like it will say written out in words 9/17/3, and then it'll be general public disregard this. They're sending in right under our noses. They're sending codes to each other.
Messages.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's really like and when you hear them, and they always come in, and it's like usually what we all do is we go in and we're like, thank you for for you're a warrior. Thank you for your heroism. Thank you for all this. And what that does is it lifts up the algorithm so more people can see it because they started off. I think there was about 10,000 of them, or probably started off with just a few. Now they're 150,000 strong.
Oh my goodness!
Right.
That's awesome.
And that's not us. That's people inside the administration.
Yeah. Oh, inside the administration. Oh, that's fantastic.
Like park services, all the stuff. Okay. Right. It's not just in the White House. It's all over the U.S.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I'm seeing little pockets of
resistance.
Yeah, resistance and education and people speaking out and saying, oh, so did I tell you about my dental experience?
You did, but let's share.
So, how does Roxanne make a short story too long for anyone's interest? I don't know. Stay tuned and find out. So I had to go in to have a crown replaced. So I'm a grinder. I'm a night grinder, and so I sort of cracked a tooth. They crowned it. This is like
I'm listening.
10 or 15 years ago. And then sometime in the last 5 years, probably the crown cracked because I'm a grinder. And we've been watching it. No pain or anything, but I just finally realized, I need to do, over Christmas I chipped it. So now it's cracked and chipped. And I'm like, okay, now it's sharp in there.
Yep.
Also, I really don't like going to the dentist. So I have been procrastinating and I've been putting it off for years. So I decided, okay, I just need to do this and get it done. So I booked an appointment, went in, and they looked at it. And so, and I haven't met these people before, and I think they're good. They're new. It's a new practice opened up, but it's in Abbotsford. The only reason that I was going to them was because I really like my hygienist,
Right.
and I've since learned that she's left, so I'll be leaving. Shh. Well, by the time this airs, it'll be done. The axe will have fallen. So anyway, I get there and they start working, and I'm like already like white knuckling and kind of uncomfortable in the chair, and like, are they going to do it today, or is today just an exam and I have to come back again? And they asked me the usual things like, are you, well, sort of a timeline thing. And I said, well, we're going away on, March the 8th. So I need to have it done by then. Oh, where are you going? I said, well, we're going to Hawaii, and we wouldn't be visiting the States if we hadn't already booked this before all of this stuff happened. We won't be traveling to the States otherwise. Really? You think that's a big deal? So I sort of am like, yeah, I don't want to go to the States now. I don't want to support them and their economy and anything really. I mean...
And, fascism.
Fascism. Yeah. So of course they're doing all the things. I get a dental dam, and I get the, steady flow of water that makes you feel like you're being waterboarded.
Oh, yeah.
What I imagine waterboarding is like. And so I'm kind of like in a heightened state of anxiety. And the assistant starts talking about how both of them, they're talking together. I'm just lying. They're
talking
trying to
over
survive.
you,
They're talking
right?
over me. And they're like, yeah, I mean, we're going to, because you got to live your life. You still got to live your life. And you got to let them. I've been reading about the let them theory, which is a Brene Brown book, apparently.
And that's not what she meant.
I'm like, I don't think that's what she meant. So then the assistant is talking about how everything's been blown out of proportion and it's all ridiculous. Her husband, and she's saying this like she thinks, why are you bragging about this? Her husband had gone shopping and he was looking for a certain thing in the whatever dairy case, and he goes, and there happened to be a couple of people there at the time looking at labels and saying, oh, this is US produced, we're not going to buy it. And so he put his thing back and walked back to his wife and said, yeah, it was produced in the US, so I don't think I'm going to buy it. And she's telling us, so I just marched right over there and I grabbed it because they're not going to tell me what to do and it doesn't affect us. It's their problem. Why are we making a big deal about it? And I'm sitting there going, wow, if I didn't think I wasn't coming back to this practice before, I sure know now.
Yeah.
And I will tell them, like when I leave,
think that's
I will
good.
be sending them a message saying, okay, there's many reasons that I left. You need to understand how your crosstalk affected me.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, it just adds a whole other layer of stress.
Yeah, well,
right?
and you know what? If you have an anti-democratic opinion, just shut up. Keep it to yourself.
Well, yeah, well, first of all, if you think it's okay to say it out loud, there's something wrong with you.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Like there really is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if it was policy, it's different. And we've talked about this until we're blue in the face, right? This is not policy. This is human rights. Like the people that are in power now think white men. And if a woman thinks that she's immune from all of this, like the MAGAt women think they're going to be okay. And now you can see them. The leopards are all eating their faces. They're getting laid off too. And they're like, oh, if I could just talk to Trump, he would understand. It's like, he didn't care.
No.
Right? But I had a different but similar incident coming home because we went to on a cruise. And honestly, we had to go to New Orleans and the same thing. If we hadn't already booked it and paid for it and people weren't depending on us, we wouldn't have gone, right? And so coming back, we got rerouted because we were supposed to go through Montreal, got rerouted, we're in Houston. And we're waiting. It's not quite time to board, but it's pretty close. Like people are milling, right? And there's the two, I'm assuming, Mexican people, Latino at least, older fellow who honestly looked like he could be in a movie for like one of the ranch hands, right? And I don't think he had a cowboy hat on, but might have had a ball cap on. And there was a woman who probably was his daughter. I don't know that 100%, but I made that assumption.
Yeah.
And then I see this big, tall guy walking down the thing, and he's got a red hat on. And I'm like, is that a MAGA hat? Is that a MAGA hat? And I'm looking, and Paul's like looking at me like, oh, God, what's she going to do? And he's got American flag cowboy boots on. So talk about respecting the flag. I'm going to walk on them.
Wow.
But he's got one leg of his pants tucked in, so you can see it. It's American flag,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So he's clearly sending a message.
Yeah.
He's got those glasses that break in the middle like sunglasses.
Yeah.
And he's walking around and he's talking on his phone like this, and he walks back and forth in front of these Latino people, right? And so I kind of caught the woman's eye, so she knew somebody was paying attention. And then, I don't know, probably 5 minutes later, he says something to them, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, but I got to do something. And then he storms off in a huff and walks away with his bag. And so then we're getting ready to go, and it's like, I can't not. So I went up and I said, did he say something to you? And she said he wanted us to watch his bag.
No.
And so I'm like, it's like, and I said, with that hat on? And she was like, and I said, I'm Canadian, and I want to tell you.
Nobody does that in an airport.
But that's just it. But also, he's got a MAGA hat on, and he's going to ask Latinos. I think it was a setup, because he wasn't even on our plane. He didn't come back to our plane.
Totally.
But then, so I say to her, and I said it loud enough, and I said, I'm Canadian, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And I do regret I didn't go over earlier, right? And she was like, no, it's okay. And then she looked at me, and she said, it's really scary for us right now.
I bet it is.
And I was just like, I am so sorry.
To have that first person interaction, because we know it is scary for them, but to actually talk to somebody who's experiencing it, that's
but when I said it, and by this point I may have been angry, and so when I said it, I said, I'm Canadian, and I looked around me, and what I should have said is, not one of you people stood up. Right. I didn't do it. Next time if I came across it, I would react quicker, I think.
It's that we all have things that happen, and in retrospect you dissect it and you say, oh, what would I do differently next time? All you can do is hope next time you do things differently. You already did a good thing.
I did something.
You did something, but
but the other side is, I think, because I've practiced some of this stuff in my head, right? Because sometimes I think about just going up and punching them, but it's like that. It's like what the athletes do, right? So now that I saw the real situation, because my first thought when I was watching, and I did catch her eye, was he's not doing anything. But what I should have done and walked up and said, cousin, oh my goodness, I didn't know you were on this flight, right? And I mean, I can only speak a little. And what I should have done after too, I know how to say sorry.
Okay.
And I know how to say a really bad word in Spanish. What I should have said it should have been, Señor, lo siento, hombre, a pendejo, right? And I mean, pendejo is a really bad word.
Pretty bad.
Right? But at the time, but now I know what the situation is like, and I also saw his behavior. He was trying to intimidate them.
Yep.
He was acting like he was on our flight. I looked for him, right? Because we got on
So
early.
what's he doing in that
I think he was
area?
trying to set them up, and he's going to come back and say, you took something from my bag.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. There was a plan there. Yeah.
There was something. He wanted to harm somebody.
That's
right?
just ugly.
Yeah,
That's just ugly.
Yeah. But it is one of those, I think it is up even online. And I was just telling Roxanne before we came on, I'm on Blue Sky, and I love it. But I really do shoot my mouth off. I like Facebook, I do, but Blue Sky, I really shoot my mouth off. And now, because you find out what these terrible lists that you're on, like the MAGA are in there, and they're listing us, right, as bad people. And I'm on the too much drama list. I'll take it, man. I figure that's a badge of honor, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's poor Chilla. I'm going to open this door, because I seem to be having a hot flash, but also Chilla.
He's going to, he'll be
okay,
in
it's
and
nice
out,
you guys.
I know, we were close to recording this outside today.
And then it just got
close.
a little bit chilly because the sun went down a bit.
It's February 28th right now.
It's 29th in my world, but you know.
Yeah, because
because I live in a different realm, man.
1 in 4 years is good for you, apparently.
There you go. See? Okay, I've got it. So I also have to say, and this will be a part of it because I'm going to get back to them tomorrow. I've been really Love Note challenged. Right?
I've noticed.
And
I noticed. I keep waiting for them.
I know, and so today. I already went on and said, hey, I've been challenged, but I'm not going to apologize for that, and I'm not going to, try to scramble and do 4 a day to catch up. And then I posted 1, and then I haven't posted for 3 more days. But I am going to get back to it. But I have to say, I had a pretty epic meltdown on Wednesday.
Did you?
Yeah. So
I don't know about this. I'm hearing about this as you were hearing about this.
So about 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and it was like, and there's other stuff, but it's a lot. And I'm trying not to pay attention too much to the U.S., but every morning I read Heather Cox Richardson's thing, and she's really great. And we'll put her in too. But then about 2 p.m., it was like, maybe it was either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Now I have to check and see what our conversations were.
It was probably nothing.
Yeah, probably nothing. I know.
But all of a sudden it was like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And I laid on the couch for a few minutes, and then I got up and I took myself to bed, and I cried for like 3.5 hours.
No.
Actually, I got up in between there, and I dried my tears, and I walked the dogs because they won't walk without me. And I went back to bed. And
That was
cried some more.
Wednesday?
I think it might have been Tuesday because we had a house showing on Wednesday. So maybe it was Tuesday.
Tuesday. Now I'm
Yep.
looking to see, what was I doing on Tuesday?
You were at a party without me. I don't know where she was.
Yeah, I was at the dentist.
See, it was a bad day.
That's exactly, yeah, I was at the dentist. I left at noon and I didn't get home until 5. And I wasn't at the dentist the whole time, but,
Right, but
I was like,
No, it was just a bad day.
just a bad day.
But
yeah.
but anyway, but then when I've talked to
Oh,
a
I'm
few
so
people about it,
sorry.
but you know you have to get it out, right?
Yeah,
And at
yeah.
some point, it just rolls in, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, selling the house and stuff, that's always
That's
stressy. But
very
when you have
stressful.
like the big world imploding, kind of like, and I think our friend Della said it best when she was here at the holidays at Christmas time, and she was like, the entire world that I lived my life to this criteria, to these standards, it's not true.
Yeah.
Right, like these people, like it's just, and you have no control over
Yeah.
it, right? And it was just like, oh my god. And you know, I was joking earlier when Roxanne came in, and it was like, the world's ending. Why am I eating kale, right? And that's a little bit like, it was like, we're all trying so hard, and we have no freaking, and not having control is not good for me, right? I need some kind of control over at least my little part of the world. But now they're hurting others, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
little kids are dying of measles.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is so ridiculous. I remember how mad I get when I hear of a dog dying of parvo, which is absolutely, there's no need for it. It's
Yeah.
all completely we can't do anything to legislate
Yeah.
that.
Right.
But measles? Are you kidding me?
It's in Canada now. There's a bunch of people in the hospital somewhere here, including a little kid, right? And this is not, so I saw this post about this woman, and she had flown somewhere where they've said, hey, there's been measles here, but she's got a brand new baby. That baby can't be vaccinated yet, right?
So as long as mom is vaccinated,
It's probably okay.
there'll be some
Okay.
passive immunity
Yeah.
from mom or some maternal
That's
antibodies going. That's if she's breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And maybe there'll be some still from the pregnancy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so she's like, so now I'm here. I'm terrified we've already been exposed. I'm terrified to go back to the airport to go home because she's
Right.
visiting parents or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, and she's like, so all you people saying it's my choice, you're making a choice for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Like, and now, so, and this is, and we will get off this and do something lighthearted because we all need lighthearted. But now RFK Jr. has stopped. They meet now, and he just canceled it. I think they were supposed to meet early next week. They meet to decide, to talk about the flu strains, so for vaccines
Okay.
for the fall.
Okay.
Cancel the meeting. So nobody knows. Not all the research are coming together to identify the dangerous flu strains.
Well, that's what you get when you put someone like him in charge of really
Right.
important scientific
Yeah,
stuff.
right? And the
Wow.
challenge is it's going to affect, I think our government will come to, like, because we're still in the CDC, we're still doing the things. I think there will be private sector and other governments that step up. But this was the leading thing. Like now the CDC I think it's CDC, has taken to posting things like bird flu and all that kind of stuff on their own because it used to go through the White House.
No kidding.
Right, so like anybody who's like, and I did when I spoke to a young couple that voted for Trump, and they're like, oh, it's not that bad, like that, right? And I was just like, well, first of all, you realize that the world freaking hates you, and that if you were pulled over by the side of the road and you needed to drink water to survive, 90% of the people, if they knew you were a Trump supporter, I was like, if I'd realized you were a Trump voter, I would have got up and moved, right? But talking to them, they're like, it's not that bad, and they have kids, and I was like, yeah. Hope they're vaccinated.
It's not that bad. It doesn't bother me. It's not affecting me yet. I did it because of my pocketbook. All of these things.
I did it because of my pocketbook.
Right?
That's
like
what they said.
That's what they think. They think that it's going to help them, and it's not. Like,
Oh,
how
no.
are they not seeing this?
But had I not known, and they, I mean, I had a couple of mimosas, so I was a little tipsy and said, so can we talk about this? And had I not realized they were perfect, good manners, lovely people, right, all of this, and then we're talking, and it was like, well, we only have two choices. And I was like, okay, we have a 3-party system here in Canada, but, you know, really, up until the last few years, we've always only had two choices, because NDP was never a potential, right, for a prime minister. And so we're talking, and it was like, well, Kamala Harris or Trump. And then I said, so what was wrong with Kamala Harris? Too far left. And I was like, well, explain what that means. And then I really meant it. Explain what
Yeah,
that means to
yeah.
me. Just too far left, and you know, the trans thing, I don't care what you do, but I don't want your birth certificate to say something. I want it to be what you're born with. And it's like, why does that matter? Well, it's national security. And it was like, and you voted for Trump, and you're worried about national security because what I should have said was, so you realize I'm trans, right? It's what I should have said. But then it was like, so, but you voted for Trump. And she said, I don't like him, but I voted with my pocketbook, wallet, she might have said. And I was like, okay. And I said, so earlier you told me you go to church. Yes. So 45 convicted felonies, doesn't matter to you. Grab women by the pussy, doesn't matter to you. Educated sexual assaulter, doesn't matter to you. Cheated on all his wives. And she's like, well, that's the person. And I said, what a person does in their private life affects how they behave in their professional life.
100%.
And then I said, so you voted with your pocketbook. How's it been for you? And then the fellow said, well, it hasn't been that long now. And I said, if Kamala Harris was in, would you be saying that about what she had done in the first 40 days?
I can't believe you had this conversation. Like, you're saying, oh, I should have done more. You had this conversation.
But did I do? Although, to be fair, she did take the podcast card, and I hope she does, because she wanted to know where were some good media outlets to follow, right? Because she said, we don't know. We can't watch CNN, can't watch Fox. They're not telling us the truth.
So what do you mean she can't watch CNN?
Well, she says they shouldn't believe anything. She said Fox is too far.
So
and
they
I
don't
think she
believe-
thought CNN was too far left, which is ridiculous, because they are not. In fact, they're leaning more and more. But it was really interesting, because I was just like, you guys, you have to get better information. I
Yeah.
said, they're not telling you.
Yeah.
And it's like you have no idea. I said, Canada, it's like everybody might think it's funny that he's calling us, he's coming for us. And I said, so already 30% down at the border where I live of people crossing. I said, what do you think is going to happen in March break when all these people used to go across, right? And I said, it's affecting livelihoods of people in Canada. And they're like, well, that will probably fall off. And I said, not from what I can see from my fellow Canadians.
So today is Economic Blackout Day.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So my husband left to play golf earlier, and he sent me a message saying, I'll be back by whatever time, and I'll stop and pick up, soy milk and yogurt and whatever we're out of. And I'm like, okay, we'll see you later. And then I went, wait, not today. We can get the groceries tomorrow. I don't know what we're buying from where, but you know what? It's just easiest.
It's just not
Don't
to.
buy anything. No shopping.
They need to get
no
the message.
Books, no online books, no nothing.
So,
nothing.
So I don't know what your books have done, but my sister was telling me. So usually, I don't know, she sells, because she's got a Move to Canada Bible and a Move to Mexico Bible.
Okay.
Right? And she said usually, she sells 10, 15, 20 books a day. And more these days. Right?
Good for her. Holy cow.
But she said, you know what? No sales today.
Wow.
And she was like, she was happy. Right?
That's so interesting. I've been doing the mind-numbingly meticulous and breathtakingly boring work of getting all of my metadata and advertising stuff going for my self-published books. And I just finished everything last night, and then today I was doing some other things. But it's like I do a thing and then I'm like, refresh. Have I made any sales?
Right.
Has it worked? Is it working?
Right.
And nothing's really tracking. Nothing's really, and I know with all of this stuff, it takes a little while to, for it to get some traction, but I forgot about that. That's great. Good.
It is and that's just it. But I think if we could all do our part, and I saw a bunch of people saying this won't matter, blah, blah, blah. This is a threat.
Oh, this
right?
matters.
I actually think it does matter.
Yes.
And I've been weaning myself off of Amazon, and we live I don't know, half an hour from the town, which is not bad, 20 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff is just easier to get, right? Like the vitamins that come every month and stuff. I've been weaning myself off there, and I think a lot of people have. I have to admit, there might be stuff that you can get on there. I'm switching over to different where I get books. I'm doing all that. But the other thing is, when I see an Amazon truck, I'm like ashamed if it's coming to my house now.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's the enemy, right?
So I've got a magnesium supplement that I get, every couple of months, and I've been ordering it on Amazon because they deliver it.
Easy.
It's great. It's easy. Sometimes I can find it in stores here, and sometimes I can't. Well, my husband has an Amazon Prime account. I do not. I don't want one. So I go through his when I need to because of the free shipping, right? So I said, oh, Ray, I'm out of magnesium. Can you order some? Just check. And so we just clicked on the one that was the one that we thought was the one I always ordered. Slightly different. Different enough that I spent 3 days where I really needed to stay fairly close to the bathroom. So just a little tweak of magnesium can be, So it either says gentle on the stomach or it says very gentle on the stomach.
Right.
Look for the very gentle.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm like, oh, I want the other one. So I went back into my account and I looked for like, what have you ordered in the past? Oh, it's there, but the free shipping is gone on my regular account and on Prime.
Oh,
you can no longer get free shipping. And I had already been like, I shouldn't really be ordering on Amazon. I don't feel good about this. And then I went, what? They've made changes already to Canada, or I don't know what the changes are exactly, but the free shipping is gone. So you know what? I went out the day after my dental appointment. I'm like going to, and it ended up at, I found it at Shoppers Drug Mart.
See?
So fine. So that's it. No more ordering that. And there's a lot of things that I can order from other places. I can order direct from the producer, direct from the retailer,
but that's
wherever
just
it is.
right? And even if you find something
Amazon.
great on Facebook or on Amazon, you see the name of them, go to their website. It might cost you a bit more in shipping, but it's about democracy. But the other side of that is it's going to start becoming peer pressure not to, right?
Yeah.
Right? And because we always tried to bundle as much as we could, because I don't want an Amazon driver coming here because...
Yeah, but you do that, right? And then they still don't ship it all at once anyway.
That's true. But it is one of those where it's like, there's all these things we can do.
Yeah.
And as we move farther and farther, like somebody put up a picture and it was here in Chilliwack, and we live in a little bit of a right-leaning place, right? All the Heinz ketchup is still on the shelf. All of the French's ketchup is gone. Right, because French's is Canadian, right? Like people are really, they're really stepping up, and it goes to our T-shirts because, and we were mad before about all this stuff, but then he came at us, and we sent firefighters to the fires,
to the fires in LA. Exactly.
When 9/11 happened, Canadians, I forget how many 100,000 pints of blood. Canadians, there was so much that happened. And so, and it's like, and I know it's not all of America, and it's not most of America, right? It's him, and they're doing this on purpose for sure, but it is a thing. Anything you can do to support local, please do that. And we don't want to hurt our good Americans. So if you know there's something in there that, he's still going to get a little piece of it somehow. But if there's a good support, like if there's somebody you order from in the US and they're good people, you can consider it, but I also don't think that's the worst thing. If that's all you can find, right? It's the big guys that are a problem. It's not the little guys, right? Exactly. Like Hive Bakery, they're the ones we talked about before. She's full on resistance, right? And her parents are super MAGA, right? And she's got T-shirts and stuff. And I think I'll get some of those because she's this little bakery, and she gets so much hate. And she's in Texas. She's like full on fuck you maggots, right?
Wow.
She actually has a podcast. I think I've talked about this with her brother.
Okay.
He does something. He's some kind of creative in LA, and her parents were MAGA.
Okay.
So put Hive Bakery, and we'll put the link to their podcast.
Bakery. You know what? Talking about podcasts, I will tell you about one, and you will have to do, because I count on you for the due diligence, mostly, more than me. But I think she's fine. I've got a podcast I started listening to thanks to my daughter Megan, who is, she's our youngest. She's, a 30-something person who is like out in the world doing her thing. And she listens to this podcast, and she told me, Mom, I think you would like this. It's called The Financial Feminist.
Oh, that's cool.
And this woman, she's a young woman, and she talks about how making women wealthy is the way to empower them to fight against the patriarchy. And she talks about that all the time. And she doesn't, I haven't listened to that many. I've listened to several. And she's great. She's irreverent and very, very casual. And if you don't like F-bombs, you probably won't like her, because she does drop a few. But you wouldn't be on this podcast. Cause you wouldn't be, yeah, exactly. We can drop them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've learned some great stuff there. And I love the idea, because I grew up with making money is bad. It's sort of like, money is the root of all evil, was kind of the attitude that we were trained with.
And it is the love of money.
It is the love of money.
Which actually
I have a problem with that. Well,
but it plays, right? I mean, I like having money, but it plays because why are all these people doing these awful things? Follow the money,
exactly.
Right? Like, it's the love of money.
Money is power, is basically what she's saying. And she's like, if you don't have money, if you are a woman and you have children and you don't have money, you are stuck wherever you are.
Yep.
So you better hope you've got, good support around you. But people need power, people need money, people need independence.
Yep.
And so her thing is all about how to encourage women to make better choices, how to educate them
That's
about
great.
even things like credit card debt. Her one on credit card debt, unbelievable. I'm listening to it and she was literally telling stories of people who thought if they put $1,000 on their credit card and the credit card company says the minimum payment, that's what they thought they had to pay. They didn't know that they had to pay the rest of it, and they were paying interest on whatever was left. They literally didn't know. And then they find out, what do you mean I have a bill? I paid that payment.
Right.
I'm like,
How do you not know?
are you
But
that stupid, or are you that, like, we're not well trained as women. I think we're better trained
No, I think
now.
we are. But I mean, I didn't grow up in a family where we would sit down and discuss family finances,
yeah.
right? Ever. Like, I still have no clue, and my dad owns a small steel company. I have no idea
Yeah.
how much that,
Yeah.
I mean, I make this assumption that we were sort of middle class, and I'm talking middle class, right?
Okay.
Like, it wasn't like we had a huge house, right?
Mhm.
We had a 3-bedroom house, and there were 5 of us, right? Kind of stuff. But we knew enough for that stuff. And I can remember, like, my mom gave me a lot of good advice. One of the first things she said to me when I started to, like, work part-time, when I don't know how old I was, 13 or 14 or something, and she was like, you have your own money, you get to make your own choices. And even as we grew, it was like, if you're looking for a guy to give you a white picket fence, or a person, because back then she said guy, but I think she would have said person had it been more a part of our language. They give you a white picket fence, they can take it away.
Yep.
Right. And so I feel really fortunate that I grew up knowing that I needed to have my own money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But not everybody is, right?
No, that's and so much of it is, it depends on the culture that you're brought up in, the subculture, and like I said, I was sort of brought up with that's enough education for a girl, that's enough money
Right.
for a girl, you're going to get married and then you'll be taken care of by your husband
Yep.
and all that stuff. And I'm fortunate that I ended up with a good man
Yep.
and somebody that I'm aligned with as far
Yep.
as we work our business together. But
Yep.
But I've been shamed for trying to make money with my books. I've been
Right.
shamed for making money with my
Right.
with my writing, right? Like, well, you're only doing that because you make money at it. What do you mean?
So
You
so
only
that's
go to your
bad?
job every day because you make
Because
money at it.
that's just it. It's kind
Yeah.
and I think sort of Megan's age and stuff. It's just like, I work for what you pay me. Because back in the day, I can remember going for job interviews and they didn't tell you how much it paid, and then you walk out and you're like,
They wouldn't tell you how much it paid?
no, like, because they figured they didn't need to. Now that was not my first job at McLean's, but it was like, back then you would be going like right out of university, and it was like, and you were afraid to ask what the salary is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Kind of stuff. And then you walk away and it's like, well, if they offer it to me, maybe that's when they'll tell me, right? Kind of thing. But that's ridiculous.
That
You should
is
know before you
ridiculous.
go to the
absolutely
interview, right?
should. Yeah, yeah.
But it's also about that. And when we say, tear down the patriarchy, we're not talking about tearing down good men.
Oh,
We're
absolutely
talking
not.
about tearing down this social structure that gives them unlimited power and us no way to push back.
Yeah.
Right?
The patriarchy harms men as much as
It
it
does.
harms women.
Yeah.
It's a bad system. I had a thought and it disappeared, as they do.
Things just do. But
Yeah, they do.
but I think it's really financial. That's really good, because I think it's really important to tell people, because my God, right? If you think you don't have to pay your credit cards, my goodness.
Oh,
Okay, but there's got to be logic there.
It,
Like, there's got to be, you got to go, well, this can't be right.
there's got to be, but
But
when
if
you-
somebody's protected, sheltered,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, there are I know people in my life, in my world, in my circle right now that didn't know whether or not they were on the title to their house, right? They didn't know where. They just gave their paycheck to their husband.
Right.
They didn't know where it went.
Well,
They
and
didn't
you
know
s-
how much money they had.
And you see all sorts of stories, right? Where someone, actually the book I'm reading, the whole series starts with a woman whose husband suddenly passes away, and she realized that all their savings are gone, and he had gambling issues, and so she has nothing, and she turns her big, beautiful Nantucket house into a bed and breakfast, because that's the only way she can keep it, right? That's the only asset she has. But it's really interesting because, in this day and age, how do you not know? But that's unfair of me because I mean, the moment I was born, I was asking questions.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're discouraged from asking questions, if you're encouraged or channeled to accepting the status quo, just take it. Don't make a scene. Be nice, smile, be quiet.
Yeah.
All those things. So I have the triple whammy of being female, being Canadian, and growing up evangelical Christian.
Yeah.
So the niceness and the quietness in me, I'm now 61 years old, as our friend
Pink Beverly
says, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be nice and quiet anymore. It's not served me.
Yeah.
I like being somebody who gets along and who can manage conflict and who can have a conversation. But do not expect me to roll over about stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't. Oh.
And that leads us into another thing. Is that
sure
what we're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to lead in, but please check your family's financial health.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a partner, if you don't, make sure you check it. Check your credit ratings. And these days in the US, I'd be freezing my stuff. Yeah. I'd be freezing my credit. Like,
what does that mean?
Well, it means you can go in and say, I don't want anybody to be able to go check my credit rating, do any of this stuff because Elon Musk has access to your social security.
Yeah.
He has all these things, right? They could mess with you. So I would go in, I would call up because I mean, we have Equifax and stuff like that here. You can call up somebody and tell them, or at least Google, how do I do this? Because you need to protect your personal information. But that's our financial advice for today. See, we have financial advice too. Wine and financial advice and Canadian flags.
Win.
So let's talk about this. Do you get pre-annoyed when you're going to meet with somebody that you know is annoying? Because then we'll lead into
the pre-annoyance thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I'm thinking about social situations with people that I've historically had conflict with. And I get ramped up and I'm like, okay, so if they say this, I'm going to say this. And if they say that, I'm going to say that. And then this is going to happen. And then it's like, before I get there, there's a whole argument has happened.
Right. I do it when I'm cooking and stuff. And it's like, yeah. And then he's going to say this, and then I'm going to say this, and then there's going to be a problem, and then it's like, yeah, it's not even at the party.
So my therapist has asked the question. I think it's him, or I've read it somewhere. I don't know. He's like, so how many of these arguments have you had? And I have to think,
like in real life or in your head?
Real life. I'm like, 2, 3, maybe. And he's like, how many have you had in your head? And I'm like, 5 million.
Exactly.
How many days have I been alive? Like, and it's ridiculous that we do that.
Yeah.
Because it's as if we've had that experience, but we haven't had the experience.
It's the stories we tell ourselves.
It is, but on the other hand, you need to be somewhat prepared before you go into a situation where you have reason to believe.
Right, it could turn that way.
Yeah. So that's a really tough balance,
but it is a little bit like what I said about that guy at the airport, right? Mm-hmm. I had kind of rehearsed it, but I hadn't had the experience. Mm-hmm. And so now I've rehearsed it. So I think that's a reasonable thing to do. But like to set up an argument in your head with somebody that you're not even sure is going to be there or is even going to bring up something. But you do have to prepare in some way to be like, this person's a bit challenging. I'm going to, if you're at an event, I'm going to be on the other side of the room. Like, I'm not going to go near them. And if they come to me, I'll be polite and go, oh, I see Ruth over there. I'm going to go talk to her. Right. But it is interesting because we can go down these rabbit holes. Right.
Absolutely. Speaking of rabbit holes, I got one for you.
Oh, here we go.
What is the meaning of the word rehearse? And I just thought of this. This is not planned at all. But I'm like, we all know what a hearse is. So when you're rehearsing something,
I'm thinking about killing them.
Ooh, I'm gonna look that up. I will look it up and let you know.
But that's interesting. Okay, so
etymology. So this is my favorite quote. The difference between etymology and entomology is one. Oh, I'm not gonna get this right. I don't know what it is, and it bugs the hell out of me. Something to that, right? Because entomology is like the study of bugs.
Right. Yes, no, that's funny.
I don't understand.
Nope, that's good.
But yeah, rehearse. Where did that come from?
That's interesting. We'll have to look that up.
I will look it up.
We'll put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah. It'll be in the rolling underneath.
Okay, so I'm moving, right? We're moving, Paul and I.
You're hoping to move.
We're hoping to
It's
move.
Not a done deal yet.
It is not a done deal. That's very true. Although I did find a house we really like today.
I do like that house.
But anyway, let's talk about what you're looking ahead to.
Oh, well. So I mentioned our youngest daughter, and we're thinking of getting into a rental agreement with her where we buy a property and she's our renter. We've never really wanted to be landlords, but if we can, kind of get into a situation where it's a mutual win-win, we'll do that. So we're looking at condos. And as we're looking at condos, it kind of cracks your brain open to real estate, right? And so we had an experience here in the neighborhood, which I love. I'm not looking to move yet. Neither's my husband, but it cracked our brain open to, probably at some point we will want to leave. And my husband's on strata council right now, and
so you're not talking about immediate.
No,
future,
not
right.
immediate future. But, I did a year on strata council. You learn how things work. I think everybody who lives in a strata should do one term on council, because you just learn how your world works. But you also learn the
things maybe you don't want to know.
There's an 80-20 or even 90-10, right, rule that goes like 90% of the people here are fantastic and 10% are a-holes, and they moved here. They either didn't read the bylaws or they just decided, whatever, I'm not going to follow that anyway.
But it goes back to that whole thing of community, and some don't care about whatever happened. Like, it's not for the greater good, right? It's about that, and I think it's important. It's really important that this is a unique community because we have a social committee and all that kind of stuff. And so we're not just neighbors, right? We engage with, we have very social, like some social circles are really close.
They're really tight.
Right?
I mean, there's a group of people, I don't know how big it is right now. They're on a cruise to Tahiti together right now.
Yeah, it was pretty big, I think, like 20 people.
I
don't know
so
that
too.
they're all in there, but it's all from this community, right?
From this community.
It's like, so it is interesting. But the other side is I think there are always going to be people to say, well, the rules don't apply to me, which honestly is how they got into the problem the U.S. is in, is because there was a billionaire class, right, that does that. And I think it's really interesting. Community living and strata living, if you don't, and I'm not saying that I agree with all the rules, but you know what?
There's a process. If you don't like the rules, then talk to your neighbors, talk to your council, and make a proposal to amend the bylaw. We can hold a special general meeting, and we can.
And if the majority, like the thing is for me, we don't have kids.
A 3/4 vote. So we need a 75.
Right. So to change things, but the other side is like we rarely use the pool. We don't use a lot of the amenities. So I talk to people who really use them when there's something coming up, saying, "What do you think?" Because I want to know, because it doesn't necessarily affect me, but I want to be informed about what I vote. And I think the challenge is some people are like, well, I didn't get my way, so I'm just not going to do it, right? And that's a challenge.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's selfish. It is not community minded. And also, why move to somewhere like here, where it's very clear from the outset that there are bylaws, and it is about for changing bylaws is 3/4 of the vote, but otherwise it's a majority decides on the things, right? So if you want to be an autocrat or you want to not follow any rules, don't live in a strata.
Don't live in a strata. Why are you here? You know what they're like at home.
Yeah.
So why would you think they would be different in this part of your life here? It's like, you know what? Just be consistent. Be consistent with your behavior, because what you're like in one area is if you pick up trash or return we talked about this before, return your grocery cart. It's a tiny little thing that's not important, but it probably means you don't cheat on your taxes too.
But it tells you who somebody is, right?
Yeah. And we all have times where we can't be our perfect selves, and you're in too much of a rush and just drop the cart there and you go because whatever. Yeah.
But consistency, right?
Like if the most of your behavior. If you're like, oh, I had this thing, I'm going to put it back where it belongs. I'm going to do this. I'm just, like, I'm going to pick up the dog poop because I don't want to step in dog poop.
Right. But that's just it. And then you go out of your way, because we walk early in the morning, Paul and I, and quite often, I mean, and he's the one that does it. I tend to pick up little pieces of garbage that honestly have probably just blown out of something. Like, I don't think anybody just drops garbage here. But there are a few people right now not picking up, because we have new people, right? There's kind of thing. Paul will pick it up because this community matters to him, right? Yeah. But it's a really interesting thing, because it goes back to that. It's like, if you're going to behave poorly, how would you feel? Like, it goes back to that. And I know, it's like treat people the way you want to be treated. And like, these are the people that are demanding things that if somebody like me demanded it, they'd be like, who the hell do you think you are? Right?
Exactly.
That's the challenge of it. And
Yeah.
and it's a really small percentage. Like, it really isn't. And this is just human nature,
Yeah.
right? Your
Yeah.
community, and you probably get it everywhere. It's just that if you're, battling with a neighbor who never mows their lawn in a non-strata, and a non-strata like ours, you don't have to run into them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At an event,
Yeah.
right? That's the challenge of it here. And I'm not good because I don't have a social game face. Like, if I'm wrinkled and I've been wrinkled at a couple of neighbors, and I see them and it's like, not talking to you, man.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
yeah.
I can't. I wish I could be better at that, right?
The fakeness.
Well,
The necessary fakeness.
diplomacy, right?
Diplomacy, yeah, courtesy. I've been told I have a glass face, that I'm not good at hiding things, but I actually think I'm okay at it.
You're way better than me.
I think I have developed some skills that way. And I, like, I had an incident a week or two ago that where I saw somebody at a very bad point who was behaving very badly. And my initial reaction was literally like to pat her on the shoulder and say, "Oh, honey, like,
Yeah.
I'm not your
It was
enemy.
care.
They're there." Yeah, except that I wanted to laugh,
Right.
which wasn't very caring. But I mean, I'd just been with my 2-year-old grandson.
Well, but that's
and I'm
just
like,
it,
"Oh my
right?
God, you're literally having a tantrum."
Yeah.
Like, you're having a tantrum. So that's unfortunate as an adult that you're that dysregulated,
Yeah.
that you have not learned any.
Yeah.
And I mean, I cry at the drop of the hat. I'm no champion for, poster child for emotional regulation. But
yours is internalized.
more,
Right?
yeah,
Where-
mine typically does not.
Right. It doesn't
Blow
go
out
out
against others.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And the challenge being, because I know a little bit about this, she also got in your space.
Oh wow!
Right?
Did she
and,
ever?
And
Yeah.
like, so much
Yeah.
so Roxanne could feel the spittle.
It was quite the experience.
But
Yeah.
you have a good attitude about it. And again, this person was behaving very poorly.
And there was a misunderstanding
with misinformation
at the base
right?
of it.
But
yeah.
but that's just it. But it also doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because the misinformation at the base was about actually a bylaw infraction, right?
That this person was
Misinformed.
violating
Yeah.
bylaws, and she thought I had complained and caused her to have a violation letter, and I hadn't. So
But the thing is, if they're
other people had, so somebody would have
But
got
that's just
that.
it.
And I'm like, well, I'll
so if
take
you-
the heat here, because
but
but
it's
I'm
this-
not the enemy.
But it's the same as, when somebody gets a bylaw letter. Here, if I got a bylaw letter, because I would be like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize, or
Yeah.
that was a really bad day, and oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Right?
or it's actually a mistake.
Or it's a mistake.
Right.
Yeah, but like
Sometimes that
you would deal
happens.
with that. My first question wouldn't be who told,
Exactly. It's
and
like,
it wouldn't be to go confront that person.
no,
right?
no. And we have a really good counsel right now that is
It's a great counsel.
very much and they said this at a recent meeting that we had. We will go to you and talk
Yeah.
to you. And this is what I had attempted earlier on with this person. Like, if I see something, I'm not gonna just like, this person did this,
Yeah.
I'm really mad at her, send
Yeah.
in a letter. I'll be like, okay, so help me understand what's
Yeah.
happening here. Am I misinterpreting the bylaw?
And you're very good
Or
at this.
are you choosing to ignore it?
Yeah,
Which is it?
yeah.
And yeah, complaint letters and keep doing this. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But it is, but when it's instead of like, and what happened wasn't here in the community. It's not like she came across you, right?
No,
She
no.
chased you down in a park.
she chased me down in a park.
Right,
and
and
waited
so
for
that's
me.
that's
Yeah.
far too aggressive. That's an assault.
It was
right?
it was really aggressive. Yeah, I actually filed a police
Yeah.
report.
But I think
And
that
she probably would have hurt me. I think she might have, but also I literally wasn't scared about that
Yeah.
because I'm like, you're like my grandson, when he's he's kicking and spitting and biting. Yeah, he'll also hurt you, but he's out of control.
he's also two.
He's 2. She was out of control for lots of other reasons. And yeah, she could have hurt me for sure, but whatever. That
wasn't in your brain.
it wasn't in my brain. It's like, well, you know what? Like, I can take her.
Right? But the thing is, I think, there are high emotions everywhere, and there's all this kind of stuff, and but I also think bad behavior like that has to be called out. It is not acceptable, right? Like what that guy did to those people, right? Different reasons, but
his was purely intimidation.
Yeah, but you know, at different reasons, but that kind of behavior has to be called out because, again, it goes back to, you know, you say something to somebody and maybe somebody else has the courage to speak up too, right? And that's what those letters are for, because sometimes there are neighbors you can't go to if there's an issue. And I think we all try to find a way forward with stuff, right? Like but it's one of those where it's like, if 10%, 5%, if 3%, like if they're not willing to
if that
have
one
that
person is still living next to you and giving you grief, like
right?
that's going to affect your quality of life. That's going to affect everything.
And it's one of those where if they don't play by the rules, you don't have much choice except to report them to the authority, which here is Strata.
Yep.
In other cases, it's the police, right? You know, like it's all the way it accelerates up, and it's like it's not that hard to play by the rules.
It's really not. I mean, you know, like we all moved here because we appreciate what the rules give us here. They give us consistency in what our houses look like. We have consistency as far as what we are allowed to do. Nobody's going to be playing music at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be putting a car up on jacks and leaving it there, you know, forever in there.
You know, we don't have fences in our backyards because you can't. We have 2 dogs. You have 2 dogs.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have a fenced backyard for the dogs. But you know what? I knew coming in here.
Exactly. We knew coming in, and we knew that we could spend $5,000 and make a dog run that was compliant with the bylaws. And
it fits
good
with the building scheme.
Oh, and
it looks great.
All summer long, we sit on our back deck with a glass of wine, throw the ball, and the dogs run
maybe
back
3
and
glasses
forth,
of wine.
and back and forth, and they get all the exercise they need.
And when it's pouring rain or it's really snowy, my dogs don't want to walk, so they get to run out and do their business. And I mean,
mine still do want to walk.
Oh, yeah. she has a puppy, but this is also like, it's like an engineered thing where there's layers of rock, like it never smells. That's why it was $5,000.
That's why it was $5,000. It's really well built. The drainage is fantastic. Yeah. You just go, you keep it clean. You go out and pick up the food.
And you, like, the rain helps, but then, I mean, if it's a hot day and our dogs have gone out, we spray it.
Totally. And it's no different from the grass.
No.
Like if your dogs were to poop on the grass out there. So anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you. You know what I did this afternoon?
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. So we
you
went
painted Nazi on a Tesla.
No, it's nothing so interesting. So we went for a walk at lunchtime with our dogs, as we always do. And I'm pretty sure Neo picked up a couple of those big
the burry things,
burrs on his legs. Yeah. And he comes, and usually he like does this Saint Vita's dance crazed. He's like, there's a thing on me, take it off, mommy. And I can get it while we're walking, but I didn't see him do that, so I didn't know. Only because I started grooming him did I see it, and I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Right.
So I wanted to get some part of his grooming done today, so I had him up on the table, and he's like doing that, and like, can you stop? Like, what is your problem? And he's a puppy; he eats everything. Well, I think he probably did. I think you get the little sharp things stuck in your throat. But then what do they want to do, Ruth? They want to eat grass. So he's in the house. No grass in the house. But Roxanne has house plants. So in the hour or whatever after we got back from our walk, he got into one of my plants. And I didn't see it because I didn't notice it, and it's not like he took a lot off it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I looked it up. Yeah, mildly toxic, will cause vomiting and possibly diarrhea. So we have a fun night ahead of us. But I got him on the table, and the whole time he's like, just like, shut up. And he's trying to eat his own hair as I'm clipping it off him. He's like, I gotta eat, I gotta fix this, And so then he pukes a bunch of plant stuff. I'm like, oh, I recognize that plant. Apparently you did get into it. So I finished grooming him. He kind of calmed down after that. And then my husband got home, and I told him what happened.
Yep. And
then I started getting ready to come here. And then he pukes up a whole gut load of plant material. Like, it's not good. And Ray's like, take the plant out of here. Why is that plant here? It's just puppies. Eat everything. So I moved the plant upstairs. Hopefully the dog is done, but puppies, this is what they do. This is what they do. And I think it started with him eating one of those burrs.
Yeah, and he wants to cover
it somehow.
Then
he ate a bunch of the Dracaena marginata, which is a saponin, and yes, it's an irritant, and yep, definitely threw up. Did not like that in his throat for sure.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Oh.
So I may have a bit of a fun night ahead of me. I don't know. I don't want to go home.
You can sleep here if you
Like,
want.
he can.
You can sleep here.
Yeah. So.
Okay, now with that update, let's talk about how pockets were dangerous.
I love pockets.
So it's a poem by a woman named Sharon Owens, and I got it online, and we'll see if we can find her to link to her. And so it's called Dangerous Coats. Someone clever once said women were not allowed pockets in case they carried leaflets to spread sedition, which means unrest to you and me, a grandiose word for common sense, fairness, kindness, equality. So ladies, start sewing dangerous coats made of pockets and sedition. Right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that, because I have this I have this pair of pants that I love, right? And you can wear them with like a pair of sneakers and a jean jacket and kind of look cool and funky, or you can dress them
What
up.
color
You've
are
seen
they?
them. They're black and they're kind of wrinkly, and they're like what are they called?
Like a
Gaucho
lycra
pants,
type?
kind of.
Oh, okay.
Like, and
Yeah.
but they're real. Like, I love them, but it's like they don't have pockets, and every time I put them on, I curse the designer, right? Because I love them. But it's really interesting, because as soon as you say to a woman, "I like your dress, I like your pants," it's like, "That has pockets."
And it has pockets,
right?
So I'm one of those people that has Kleenex everywhere. You've seen me wipe my nose here today.
Here,
I'm
there
always
you go.
I'm always coughing or sniffling or something. So every time I do laundry, I have to check all the pockets because I've got Kleenex everywhere. Invariably, I miss one.
Oh,
How?
yeah.
How is that possible? And then I have like white fluff on everything.
Yeah.
But I love pockets. You have to have pockets.
I like it that they carried leaflets to spread sedition.
I love that.
We might have a whole pockets part of the
think
podcast
about
at some
everything.
point.
Think about everything. What do you use pockets for? You use pockets for keys. What do keys do? Keys get you into your car. Keys get you in and out of places. Money. If you don't have money, you don't get to go in and out of places, right? Like, pockets are really important. Men always have pockets.
And you could carry leaflets to spread. You could be. So think about the days when, like, I think about, I'm trying to think of where it was, where reading wasn't. And so one person would sneaky read, and then they would tell their workmates the next day kind of the stories and stuff. But think about a pocket could hide, right?
Yeah,
a pocket could hide information that needs to go forward, right? Like, when you think about the magic of a pocket, and I want to delve into this a bit more, because if indeed the patriarchy decided women shouldn't have pockets because they have no responsibilities, why would they need pockets? So I think that's probably why purses were invented. But then we started getting pockets, right? Because I can remember, I'm old enough, God help me, but back in the day when they didn't want women to wear slacks.
Oh yeah.
Right? Slacks, not pants.
That's
slacks,
how I grew up.
Right? You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
And so but it's a really interesting
because
thing.
your bum is so beautiful, and your legs.
And I can't hold myself back. So it's like, that's not my problem, man. That's yours. And also, men wear pants.
Men wear pants.
So where's the pants in the family?
Yep.
Right?
It's
a real, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to dig deeper into this and see if we can. Oh my God, that dog.
What?
Yeah. But I think there's something there. So keep wearing pockets, man. Just keep doing the thing.
I love pockets. I love pockets. One of the books that I read that I talked about on a podcast before, I think the book was called Horse. It talks about the importance of this former enslaved man. He had sewn was it documents or was it money? I can't remember which it was, into his clothing. Like, it wasn't a pocket exactly, but it was a secret compartment. It was a secret compartment. Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? Like, when you think about that, and when you think about how Jewish people smuggled things, right, out of Germany and stuff, they tucked them into places, right? And when you think about the power of that little pouch wherever it is, and now we call them pockets because we haven't had to, but it is. I'm going to look a bit further into it because look at how smart we are, right? You got pockets, so you could carry things around, right? So you could carry things of value, of importance around, right?
Yep.
And and They can't pat down everybody.
Nope.
Okay, so I also have another one, and I mean, I have like 4 billion of them, but we won't get to them all today because we're already at 5
Oh, good
o'clock.
Lord.
We're already at an hour, but I'm going to talk. So here's another one by somebody whose name is Uli K. I don't care. I'm literally in both the softest and the most rebellious stage of my life. I have flowers growing from the same holes made by the things that tried to kill my spirit. I refuse to let the ugly parts of the world ruin the beauty that I have chosen to put into it. No matter which way I deconstruct it, it all keeps boiling down to how we love each other. All of it. And I've finally grown enough not to care that I care so much. Which I saw this, and that's the thing that said, okay, you have to get back to the love notes, because first of all, poor Roxanne today was like, why are you sad? Right? But the other side of it is,
I was too busy being a dental patient to care earlier. Now I care. You're sad.
You didn't know. Right? And I think we all have to let it out, because the other thing is, in my non-scientific reasoning, I think the people that don't let it out are the people that get sick.
So there is a difference. Did you know this? There's a difference between the tears that are shed when you cut onions,
right,
and the tears that you shed when you are sad,
and joy,
or mad, or happy, or joy.
They all have a different makeup,
different
right?
chemical makeup. So absolutely, you keep that inside, and it's dangerous. It's damaging for you. Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's just it, and that's like, I mean, I cry at dog food commercials. But I don't
Sarah
ugly
McLachlan
sob. Oh my God.
Rescue ones, they're bad. Oh.
I know. I know.
It's like, I
know. It's
like it's the arms of an angel, not the arms of a stranger, or whatever I said. A conversation that I had with my friend Stacy on Wednesday. We play Scrabble and trivia night at a biker bar with some friends, my husband and I. On Wednesday night.
Can we just set up this scene? Roxanne, the evangelical homeschooling mom, former evangelical homeschooling mom, in a biker bar. I'm playing Scrabble.
Okay. It is all sorts of awesome.
That scene could be in The Office.
We get looks. Looks. Yeah, people are always looking at us. And we won trivia night a couple weeks back, so we still have.
I thought it was Scrabble you played.
We play Scrabble, but because we used to meet on Mondays, but then we switched because I have choir practice on Mondays, and now we meet on Wednesdays. And Wednesday,
not church choir.
No, rock choir.
Yep.
So on Wednesday they have trivia night. We didn't know this, so and it's busy there, so we don't always get our table. But so we play trivia, and then we play Scrabble, or in this case, we started Scrabble not knowing the trivia night thing was over, so we're doing both, and people are like, they're so smart. And we're talking about menopause. And I'm saying how, like, when I was a young mother and my kids were losing it, I was like, oh, the pain that they're feeling, and I have to help them through this in their developmental stage, and now it's like, I'm just going to hold him till he's done. I don't want to get kicked and screamed and possibly peed on and bitten, so I'll just wait till he's done.
Is that menopause or experience?
Oh, menopause, I would say. Although it's interesting because my husband has the same reaction, and he was when our kids were small. Like his words now are like, I wish I had the patience that I have now. 30 years ago when I was raising my own kids. So when we're gonna see 2 of our other grandkids tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. But for me, it's there's a distance, I would say. There's a distance now. So instead of being immediately immersed and feeling all of the angst that the kid is feeling and all of the pressure to, how are they going to remember this? And am I helping train them the right way? And all this, I'm like, no, he's just hungry or tired. And
are you
he's going to burn himself out.
That's not medication, not menopause?
I was medicated by the time my third kid came around. Okay. I lost it when she was about 2. So a doctor said, no, I think you need some help here.
Right.
And so I've been medicated for a long time.
Okay.
But now I don't really have estrogen anymore, and I'm very happy about that.
Is that what causes the, I have to do all the things?
The estrogen is the caring, right? The estrogen and progesterone and all that stuff is there's another one. Couple more in there, but those are the caring, the nurturing, the protecting, all of that stuff. And I'm like, I don't have that
scared
anymore.
Of her.
I don't have that anymore. So do not need me.
See, for me, I'm still because I always see I'm good at issues communication because I always go to the worst case scenario. So I have high level anxiety, but it doesn't stop me from absolutely functioning. It's the committee in my head, you know what I mean? Because some people with like very different, very serious anxiety can't function, right? Mm-hmm. I just have the committee nattering at me. And so until I discovered, you know, medication, because you told me about things, right?
Better living through pharmacy.
But that's like, I always cared too much.
Yeah.
And by the time you told me, I was already through menopause. So I was still so I guess it's just two different things. And not being a parent, I don't understand the.
For sure, it's not you know, an either or situation, I think. And yeah, the level of, I see the amount of empathy that you have and all that, and
it sucks.
It sucks. It's hard to live with that. It's absolutely hard to live with that. And that's why they will pry my pill vial out of my cold dead hands. I don't see a reason to stop with that because I know that I have high empathy and I want
brain chemistry, right? Like the other thing is, and we've talked about this before, is like, it doesn't, you know, I've had people all my life say you're too sensitive. Mm-hmm, and it's like, qualify that, because when I see the people that so there's a fellow, and I'm gonna see it because I see it a lot, and it was one of the judges at the Nuremberg trials, right, with the Nazis.
Okay.
And this person said, and I'm paraphrasing, is like, you know, I've always wondered about evil and if it really existed. And it's like, I think I know what evil is now. It's those people who don't have empathy.
Yeah.
They can't feel what others are feeling, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of grateful for my empathy, although I would, you know, not like to sob for 4 hours, right? But the other side of that is like, if it's starting to impede with your life, and for me it didn't, I'd still get through it, but it wasn't fun.
No.
Right, but I'd still suck it up and do it. But once you get the brain chemistry down a bit, I still have a lot of empathy.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not like, oh my God. Well, actually I did say it today. Oh my God, the world's ending. Why am I eating kale?
She did. She actually said that. I to me, it's like because I had the same thing. I was always too sensitive. I cried too easily. I felt things that I shouldn't feel, and it took me a long time to recognize that that's actually a gift.
It is a gift.
And it comes with specific, so I learned to channel that into storytelling. I can identify things that a person feels, and I can put it on the paper and make it be a character feeling this, or a character.
So you can disconnect that way.
I can disconnect that way. And I've somewhat learned to disconnect a little bit. And I actually think this is hormonal for me, from the things that matter the most to me are my kids, my grandkids, my family, my friends, the people that I love, right?
Right.
So if I am too sensitive to what someone says to me or how an interaction goes, that would have in the past triggered me to possibly melt down or
it would have been debilitating, right?
It would have been debilitating. And now I'm able to kind of say, well, you know what? Not my circus, not my monkey.
That's a good phrase to have. Like, that's a good phrase to have for your own, right? Because and it really is. Once you realize that most times what people want to come at you about has nothing to do with you.
This is the whole.
And I think you're going back to your thing, right?
Well, my husband read a book years ago called The 4 Agreements, and it pissed me off entirely when he did it at the time, because
Don Rui, is that it's Rui something?
Know.
Yes, okay,
yeah, something like that. I don't know, but here's me. The whole time that we're in, knowing each other, talking about empathy, and here's a book you should read, and what about this, and let's have this conversation. And he's like, brick wall, don't care, not. And then he comes at me with this book, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Someone else suggests this and now it matters to you? I'm not reading that book. I'm out. But I see where the whole don't take things personally, because I actually did read the book. And don't take things personally is like, even if someone commits the ultimate of killing you, it really has nothing to do with you. It has
Except you're
everything.
Dead.
Well, you're dead, but it has everything to do with what they're experiencing.
We're going to take that, because we're going to go on TikTok soon. And I'm going to say, except you're dead, and you're going to go, well, yeah. And we're just going to loop that over.
I don't know. I don't know. TikTok is going to be my medium.
No, it's good. She's and you're very expressive today. But I think and if you can get past that. So I had
Yeah.
I had a little incident, and it's a middle manager at a government ministry, and I had a little feedback on an article that I wrote that is perfectly fine. Okay, I can see you're trying to just cause a problem, but and what he said to me, and I immediately was like, Roxanne, and then afterwards I just laughed about it. What he said to me was, your writing's approaching magazine quality. And my first reaction there, and I have to say, there are moments when I'm I have to walk away, and I walked away and I made a tea,
Wow.
and then it was like, and I wanted to go back and say, oh, thank you, because, I think maybe Maclean's, the Globe and Mail, the Vancouver Sun, and all the others, and plus the awards I've won, might think it is that quality now, right?
What a gas bag. I think I used those words when you were telling me about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, full of hot air, insecure. So somehow you triggered. So again, if you look at the whole, 4 agreements thing,
Yeah.
it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with his insecurity.
I make a living as a writer.
Probably he has a really small penis too.
Oh, I'm sure.
And you triggered something to make him feel bad about himself.
Because I got the writing contract, and so he's the person, and he's actually not the person I report to. Is away for a medical issue, but it's like every time I met with him when he was in the meetings that he was there, and he was like, I understand quality writing, and it was like, okay, because honestly, that's subjective, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know Ernest Hemingway was talented.
Doesn't
He
mean you
uses
like
too
it.
many words, man. Right? For me, I'm not saying he wasn't talented, right? It's like, and there's lots of bands out there that, Paul listens to these bands, and I know they're talented. Not my style.
Not my
right?
style.
Like, but you know what I mean? But when he's talking about it, and it was just like, and when he did it, at first, like, there was a little flair, and then it was like, are you kidding me?
It was like the tantrum that I witnessed, right?
Yeah.
He had it on a much smaller scale. He had a little meltdown, a little
Yeah.
tantrum of his own. But I want to be a good writer, and therefore the only way I can be a good writer is if I say you're a bad writer.
Yeah. Well, and
it's the zero-sum game, right?
Well,
It's like-
exactly, and then the but I'll show you I'm better because I will criticize everything, including wait, this is a good one, and it really fit. I mean, I grew up at Maclean's. I know not to use cliches. I use cliches in Maclean's articles, and it was fine, right? But in a quote, they talked about this program and the excitement from the students, and somebody said, seeing their commitment to this program and the excitement about it is like a breath of fresh air for me. And he said, you shouldn't use cliches.
If it's
It
in
was
a
a
quote,
quote.
you're using it. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm with him on cliches. Absolutely. Try fresh writing whenever possible. You don't change people's quotes.
Well, and the other
They
side
just
of
don't.
that, the other side, I have a bit of a side opinion on cliches. They're cliches for a reason. And when you're
Yeah.
writing for a big general audience,
Yes.
you can use a cliche so that they get it.
Absolutely.
Right? Like everything
it's
in
a
its
shortcut,
place, right?
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and when you only have 600 words, but it was, but going back to that, it's like, it was really interesting. Probably 10 years ago, if I was feeling more insecure, right? Or if I wasn't medicated, it would have been like, how dare you? Right?
How dare you? Or what? I have to change
Or,
my strategy. I have to.
oh my
I'm
God,
not a good writer.
I'm not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you put your hands in your pockets and you stood up straight and you went.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Fuck the patriarchy.
So it was a mansplaining thing for sure.
It absolutely was a
Right.
mansplaining thing.
Okay, we have lots more to talk about, but we're not going to. But what I can tell you is, at least I am, and if I do it, she's got to go along with me. And it may be because I looked up some new medication I'm taking for twitchy feet for restless leg.
Oh.
Larger appetites are a part of it because I've gained some weight and I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to
You're
get
gonna
rid
turf
of this
that
weight.
that
No,
drug,
I'm keeping
or-
the drug. I
Oh,
want
okay.
to sleep, but I'm gonna, and I haven't worked out for a bit because I might have had too many bubbles and fallen down, and hurt my foot, so I couldn't work out. You pushed me actually.
I did not push you. I didn't even see it until afterwards. I'm like, oh, where's Ruth? Oh, there she is. She fell down.
That was when we were with Pink Beverly, just so you people know.
We blame Pink Beverly. Let's go back to your twitchy feet drugs.
Yes.
What's about that? You're going to stay on that one?
I'm going to stay on it.
Okay, but that one has the side effect
Well, it
of
does
making you...
but it also has side effects for uncontrolled it's like it can let you go crazy.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, I'm
Except
interested.
I'm not. But the other thing is, I'm thinking, like, since we're on vacation, so there's a challenge. But even before that, I came back from being in Europe and gained no weight, and I think that's when I went on these pills. And since then, not saying how much, but it's enough to scare me. And okay. I'm now on a eating healthier thing, and because we're going to go on TikTok, I think we're going to do some like little videos of cooking and stuff.
Are we?
People like it.
I am scared of TikTok. Honestly, I am.
You should be scared of me.
Well, that goes without saying.
But we're going to do some
plus
stuff.
TikTok? Oh,
but
boy.
I'm going to check in a bit, because here is the one thing that we'll leave you with before we go to our closing is I saw this thing online, and it says, "Dear me, in 6 months, I'll make you fucking proud."
I love that.
Right? So that's a good, I'm going to put this up on my wall in my office.
I
right?
love
And
that.
just to remember, because honestly, I like crunchy things, right? Stress, right? Well,
you are a bit toward the drama.
I'm
right?
on the drama list,
You're
man.
on the list.
So
me too.
Right?
I mean, that's the interesting stuff.
Celery is crunchy.
Oh, celery is
It's not
wonderful.
potato chip crunchy, but
Yeah.
I think a little bit of lemon salt maybe.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can find some
that'll
stuff,
do.
right? Here we said like 18 minutes ago we were wrapping up.
Yeah.
But that's not how it goes.
So,
Anyway.
so I'm going to tell you just briefly about my foray into organization, because I didn't have a meltdown the way you had a meltdown, but I have a lot of tabs open in my brain, a lot of tabs.
And they're all attached to books.
Like 12. Not necessarily books. What are you looking at?
You have 12. I only have like 9 committee members, so now I'm interested in all the tabs.
No, it's like, okay, I got this series, I got to change the metadata on that, get some ads going, update. Oh, I got to anyway, there's a lot of stuff. And I get up in the morning and then I go upstairs, and I love what I do. Like, I love my work. When you have a project for me, I'm excited to do it. When I've got a new book on the go, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then overwhelm occurs. I'm like, wait, was I doing this or was I doing that? And so I got out the dry erase cleaning stuff, like cleaned off like 2 years. I have a 2-year calendar on my wall. And I wrote down everything that is open, every open project that I might have something to do, that I need to do something about.
Right.
Yeah, there was at least 12 things on there. And that includes like a website I want to set up for my husband, and maybe some books that I want to write with him, collaboration I'm doing with another author. That's like, oh, new metadata I got to fix for this series that we're going to move it to another city, and blah, 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 and ads that I'm doing. Anyway, I just itemized everything. I broke everything down and itemized everything. And now, when I get up from my chair, I walk past that little spot every time I go in and out of my office, and I look at that. Oh, am I going to work on this today, that today?
Wait, you set your priorities.
And then I can say, well, which one is, and I've got some promotional stuff happening in the next week or two with some of my books, which means that I need to get, all the ducks in order about that. So priorities change. This will be the thing, and then this will be the thing, and then, I have some things that I want to get done before a conference I'm going to in June, July. And now I can see it clearly. Whereas before it was like this free-floating anxiety. Like, what am I doing? Am I working on the, and all these things would just kind of, and then I would try to go to bed and sleep, and well, then my feet start twitching and dancing all over the place, and I'm like, what am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. And the thing that I do tomorrow is then the first thing I think of.
Right.
As opposed to now.
Right.
I look at my list.
It's strategic.
It's strategic. Yeah.
Anyway. No, that's good. Anyway, Paul, you can come down. Paul was just coming down from work, and he wasn't going to do that. But that's a really important thing. I think even in this world that feels a little upside down, like for me, I go check our investments. I go do all these things that make me feel a bit better, because I am fortunate enough to we are fortunate enough to have investments, but I'm worried about like the stock market, right? Because Trump is tanking it in the U.S. We mostly have Canadian stocks, so we're fortunate. But it's one of those things where it's like, I think once you can get things organized, and I have to say, I have too many emails, and most of them are like blogs and other things I don't need. Like I need to better organize that so the things I have to do, right, aren't coming at me.
Do you have a plan for I deleted 5,000 emails out of my inbox a week or two ago. This is what I do when you're gone, so don't leave anymore. But this is like my inbox gets out of hand.
Oh yeah, it's
really
insane.
fast.
Paul can tell you. Wait, I don't think. Oh, wait, I've got 80 now. This is done differently, but I have about 10,000 emails. Right now, some of them are actually organized in certain things, but I've got clients on there that we had 3 years ago. I can get rid of, right? I don't care. But email, like when it comes in, and I look and I see like I have 1,000 new ones, and many of them I have to say are blogs or podcasts I would like to.
Yeah.
I need to find a way to segment them.
Yeah.
Right, because
yeah.
it is all of that's overwhelming, but it's the same as when we kind of tidied up and made me realize I was a clothing hoarder, for the showings and all that kind of stuff. Is it made me realize you don't need everything you think you need.
You really don't.
Although I do need pie plates because I keep borrowing yours.
You keep borrowing mine. Well, that's fine. I'm not using them. But that for me that's the hard thing, because I will save things because I'm not sure when I'll need them again, or I will, and I'm digital things like emails. Yeah. As well as clothes or pieces of paper in my office. And
what if we fit into them again?
That aspirational clothing, right? It could happen.
It's going to happen. We're going we're not going to deprive ourselves. We're just going to eat healthier.
Mm-hmm. We're going to eat healthier
instead of truffled potato chips at every turn.
I also love those.
Me too.
I had French fries last night. Did I tell you that? They were
that she feels the need to freaking announce it. It's like I would eat French fries every chance I got. I can't believe that when we said what our last meal would be, I said steak. It would be French fries.
It would be French fries. French fries and gravy. It would be poutine for you.
Might be. I like French fries and gravy sometimes. Sometimes the cheese is
distracting.
What's the word? Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Say the word.
Superfluous.
She's my language expert. but yes, Paul, do you want to come and say hi anywhere?
I was just gonna say you would want chili cheese fries.
I do like chili cheese fries, but I like French fries and gravy better. Anyway, we're going to sign off.
We are done.
But wait, we have to say, so Paul and I went on a trip with Terry and Andy, who are very, Paul has known them forever, and I love them, and Roxanne knows them.
I have met them, and Terry and Andy, I love you guys. Yeah, I think I've only met you once or twice. Yeah. Twice maybe? Yeah, and we just had fun. So I watched the pictures of you, and I'm like sad.
Yeah, but so Terry has watched every podcast episode.
What?
Yep. And she talks about books quite like she reads like you read. I either read Serial Killer. Now I'm reading this whole series about how everybody ends up happy and they're all in Nantucket, blah blah blah. Or I read.
Could be worse.
I read like non-fiction, usually political, but I'm not reading none of that right now. But Terry was like talking about books, and it's like, oh my god, the next time you guys come over, I'm just going to put you and Roxanne in a corner, right? So, and Terry has said, because she's a bit of a cheeky human, that sometimes she wants to comment, but she was like, I don't really know. I'm Paul, I'm initially comment. Fill your boots, man.
Look at what we're doing. Come on, you guys. Come
and talk.
Come and join us. But yes. On the note of reading, I'm just going to say I have like 5 books partially started right now. This is a bad place for me to be.
What a surprise.
No, what I'm saying is I can't get into any of them. This is not great.
Life is hard for Roxanne.
This is really highly anxiety provoking. I've read a lot of good books in the last month.
It's anxiety provoking because she just stuttered over anxiety, man.
I go to bed at night and I pull out my Kindle. I'm like, which one am I going to read? I don't know. I tried that one. I tried that one. I tried that one. I tried that one.
Oh, that's hard when you don't have one you like.
And I don't have one that's just really grabbing me right now. And then I plug in my iPod. I'm probably one of the last living humans still using an iPod.
The last living human.
The last. And I pull out my audiobook and I'm like, well, I've listened to this one 5 times, or I could listen to that one, which I've listened to 10 times. Do I want to try something new? I don't know. What am I doing?
Terry, tell us the book you're reading.
Tell us the book to read. Yes.
Okay, if I can find it again, I'll give you my outline.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm kind of scared.
Anyone who's ever told me, I have a book for you, maybe you can help me publish it, send it to me, for heaven's sake. Why do people...
nuts?
No one send it to me.
Anyway, I just want you to tell me I'm insane and it will never be a book, and so I can just put it away forever.
Anything can be a book. Are you kidding me? We're going to turn it into a book. We're going to make money on it. Because I like to make money.
Yeah, because we're not ashamed of making money.
We're not ashamed of it.
So to round us out and go out, I have a family member who has a lot of money and has worked hard for it.
Ooh.
Right? And I'm not going to say who it is because people would know the name. But anyway, one of the things I talked to him about early on when AHA started doing well, he's like, never freaking apologize for being good at what you do.
Yes.
And never apologize for making money.
Yes.
Right?
I love that.
And that's a really important thing, to destigmatize
Yes.
making money. And if
Yeah.
you do good things with it, if you contribute to the community, if you help people and you do stuff, it's okay to like nice wine. It's okay to do
Oh,
all
yeah.
of this.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because you can still, two things can be true.
Yes.
You can have community impact and you can enjoy your life, right? And so that just came earlier when you're saying it. I wanted to say that. No shame in money.
No shame.
Shame in money if it makes you hurt other people to get it,
That's different.
right?
Absolutely, that's different. Yeah. If you are gaining independence and power through what you're good at, good for you.
Yeah, and then when you can contribute,
Absolutely
contribute what
give
you
back.
can.
Absolutely give
like
back.
I've had conversations with people that are like, I sell things on Amazon, and it was like, you know what though, you have to do what's right for your family and do the best you can in other areas. Like you can't pull everything out. You can't pull the rug out from under your life because it's like that oxygen mask,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You got to put the oxygen mask
Yeah.
on so you can help others.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, on that note, what do you think, Roxy? I don't even know what our end. It's
What do you
been so
want
long
more?
now.
What do you want more of,
See,
Ruth?
thank God she freaking prompts me. It's like the actor that doesn't know their lines.
You've been gone for too long. You've lost the
I've it.
thread.
I would like more happy hours.
Absolutely.
And what do you want less of,
I
Roxanne?
want less bullshit. I want less bullshit. But you know what? Come at me with bullshit, you're gonna get it back. So anyway,
FAFO.
FAFO.
Fuck around and
Find out.
Okay.
On that note, you guys have a good
Have a
couple
good-
of weeks.
Yep.
We will
See
see
you
you
soon.
soon.